here at his apartment.
Yes, we are.
And I love it because I love getting a glimpse into how you live your daily life in a very non-judgmental way. Like,
this is perfect. Yeah,
when you first moved over to
all
this
the
apartment.
Children out there.
Buckle up.
When you hear that, you're just like, here we go.
Here, and she's off.
I don't mean to judge at all. I'm not judging.
No, what I was going to say is when you first moved into this place and the first couple of times I would come over, I would be like fussing around, putting the pillows back and cleaning up, and you'd be like, Mom, stop. Mom, stop. And so I thought I had made a lot of growth because I haven't tried to clean up one thing today.
There's nothing to clean up. It's clean. I cleaned it.
Because you cleaned it before I got here.
Exactly.
So I can't decide if that means I've trained you well, or B, do you have higher standards for how you live if you know your parents are going to see it?
I think that's everybody, no matter who you are. Because parents are not exactly the easiest audience when it comes to cleanliness of your home. Like, I know every single person out there. When your parent comes over to your house, you could have cleaned it spick and span, and you will still be like, did you get the TV? Like, there's you guys are like,
we have a critical eye.
You're truffle pigs for the thing that we didn't clean.
Truffle pigs.
We'll be like, I put a candle on. I did this. Oh, we're killing it. And you're like, pizza boxes at the front door.
I have not commented on anything. I
know, but I'm just saying that you can admit that does happen.
No, I used to clean when I came here, and I'm asking you to give me a little credit for the growth.
I'm giving you credit.
That I'm here in your home without trying to clean it.
I'm giving you credit, but you can't tell me that. And I know people tell us that is true. When a parent comes over, it's just you guys are just like, what's going on over here?
We're curious about your lives, I think, is the first thing. How you live.
I think part of me feels like it is kind of, I don't want to say ego, but it's kind of like, are you doing as good as I would do? Did I teach you good enough?
That's what I was going to say.
It somehow becomes a reflection on, you take it as a reflection on you.
Exactly. I was going to say it is ego because it is you're holding up a mirror to how have I raised you to live, and how I see the mirror is how you're living.
Yeah.
And so it is a reflection of me or how I brought you up.
Yeah.
But you try not to take it personally because you've got to figure out how you want to live. I remember when I was in college and sharing a house with roommates, no one would do the dishes. And I got to a point where I got sick of doing the dishes, and so I went on a dishwashing strike. And the dishes would pile up in the sink, and it would be disgusting, and mold would be growing. But I was like, I'm not going to continue to do everyone else's dishes, but I feel like I've always been a pretty clean person. I can be messy with clothes. Like I will stay having a pile of clothes.
I would say, and I think it does. Okay.
I have a pile of clothes right now in my house.
Don't ever say this to your parents. I do think it is indicative of how your brain works. Is because like the house will be immaculate. It'll look great, and then I'll go into your room, and there's clothes everywhere.
This is
true. And
true.
the bathroom is there's knocked over hairsprays, and I think that is just a very and I think that's the same with everybody. It's just indicative of how it's like you're seeing their presentation, and then you're seeing their brain.
Yeah, I have a hard time. No. I have a hard time organizing my clothes in my closet because I don't have a brain that works that way. So on 2 different occasions, I've hired people to come and organize my closet. And the way they set stuff up and the way they organize things, I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of that. And I just think people have different ways of reasoning and logic and organize. And I'm a creative thinker. I'm not an organized thinker.
Which is funny because I feel like I'm a little bit more disorganized of a thinker, but I'll send pictures in, but my clothes, I have suits, I have jackets, and then I have color coordinated.
Oh, and you've done that on your own? You did not hire a professional closet organizer?
I don't have the money to hire a professional closet organizer.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed that I have spent money on that, but it helps me greatly because then I can just copy what they've done and I just put it back. Oh, this is where the pink shirt goes, and I put it right back there. So,
but also you have more stuff going on. I can definitely, especially because like I'll spend time writing, and if anybody's ever written anything, it can be a nightmare to write, because you're just like, if nothing's happening in your brain, you're just sitting there staring at it, and you're just having an existential crisis, because you're just like, make something up. And so it does make it so I have more time or energy to be really organized, because I'm like avoiding something else.
Oh, you're organizing as an avoidance technique.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I do think it's interesting when you see how your children live. I do think it feels like a reflection of you, even if it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think your house looks great, honey, and I'm really proud that I'm not being judgmental at all.
The roommates do their.
The roommates have done, and you've done a nice job. And I'm just really. You got a candle burning, like I didn't know young men of your age burned candles, but
this is a callback to the Lost tapes. From when I didn't record so just so everybody knows, we recorded it like 10 minutes, maybe a minute, 5 minutes, I don't know.
10.
And I forgot to plug in the microphones.
So
there's a debate about
we had
candles.
a really cute bit about the candle. We may or may not include it, but I did think it was interesting that a man is burning a candle. I don't see a lot of men burning candles.
I think that's
no judgment. I just think it's
I don't think that there's necessarily sexism towards men, but I do think there's short-sightedness about men. Guys do stuff.
Guys do stuff. Okay.
Why do you think toxic masculinity exists? It's because somebody's like, men don't burn
we
candles.
Put you in these boxes, but the women have been in lots of boxes.
And then a girl will be like, I got the ick because he likes anime, and it's like. So don't be toxically masculine, but also don't like things that they don't like. It's a tough little tightrope walk.
It is a tightrope walk. That's so funny.
It's creative.
Yeah, because sometimes I've been going out with a man and I'm like, oh, he seems so interesting. Like, he's creative, he's interesting. I'm going to tell you a true story. This happened to me. Is it weird if I talk about someone I dated?
No.
We don't really do that often.
You don't
talk about your mother's love life.
I've tried to get you dating, and then it always turns into you're like, you don't want me.
You don't want me around. You're trying to force me off on a stranger.
I'm like,
no. I dated someone, and he was like Austin Powers. He was this beautiful guy from London, groovy executive at MTV London, producer, sassy, great. Like when I met him, he was in a velvet purple jacket, like just really cool, groovy guy. And
I like how you called him beautiful and Austin Powers.
Well, he was more beautiful than Austin. Okay. Austin Powers has the ugly teeth and whatever, but he dressed like Austin Powers, but was smoking hot.
Okay.
And
I know this person.
Yeah, you know Jake.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we went through. I loved his whole creative vibe. He was such a crazy, classy dresser. But we go through the airport security. And he has all these rings on. And, they look cool. He looks kind of like Lenny Kravitz is what I would describe him as. So we're sitting there while he's taking off, not joking, like 10 rings. Keeps buzzing. The wand, they're wanding him, keeps buzzing. Well, it turns out he's got a nipple ring that I wasn't aware of because we hadn't gotten to that level yet of the relationship. And so we had to wait there at airport security. And I remember in that moment thinking, I can't date someone who takes this long to go through airport security. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. Like, what?
Yeah, it's a little tough. That one's annoying. I'm with you on that. Imagine if I was like, I can't date someone. I can't date her because she has too many bags, and then it's like, but she needs the bags. It's
I know. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but
it's not that. But it does make sense. That is ridiculous. Yeah. Also, just tell them. Like, he could have just been like, because this is pre...
Like, wait till you get through the airport to put all your stuff on.
This is pre-9/11 too, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he could have just been like, I have a nipple ring.
Yeah, it wasn't like security was that tight.
It wasn't as intense as today. Right. So, like, he could have...
Yeah. Imagine today it would have taken us an hour to get through security.
That's the biggest thing. You know what? He should have taken a little bit more responsibility and been like, I have a nipple ring, pat me down. Like, you should know that.
Get ahead of that.
Like, if he was ahead of it, it would have been fine.
Today, when I was thinking of things we talk about, it never in 1,000 years did I think it was going to be nipple rings. Yeah, I love where these conversations take us.
That's life, baby.
That's life, baby. Okay, so the thing I did want to talk to you about, I think, is something that I saw on Instagram that I think is very cute. Are you okay if I share an Instagram thing?
Sure.
Okay, so we will have Robbie, our producer, edit this in, but I'll play it so you can hear it if I'm able to execute this well.
Be careful. We don't say be careful anymore. Instead say, what's your plan here?
I don't even know my plan. Do you know your plan?
Don't stop. Hit your sister.
Don't say stop, say gentle.
Gentle what?
Gentle hands.
Gentle hands? What else is gentle?
Everything. Gentle everything.
I am so proud of you.
You're not supposed to tell kids you're proud of them anymore.
Why not?
Well, that's putting the focus on you.
What?
I'm so proud. Don't say that.
What should I say instead?
You should be so
I
proud.
am so
No,
proud.
it's back on you again.
Hey, hurry up. We gotta go.
Don't rush. We're fine. Don't rush her. Fine.
I thought we were in a hurry.
If you rush children, it makes them anxious. Don't worry. You always rushed us, and I'm anxious.
Never rushed you. We were always late.
Exactly. And I was anxious because we were always late.
What am I supposed to say then?
Gentle.
This way. Good job.
Good choice.
Thank you.
No, say good choice.
Watch out.
Do you feel safe here?
I don't feel safe about any of this shit.
Yes, this is a joke because they have the Curb Your Enthusiasm as music.
So it's this really
is
cute.
this other-
It's called The Daily Tay, and it's called Teaching My Boomer Mom About Millennial Parenting. So it is said tongue in cheek, and they're having some fun with it, but she's serious in that the language that parents use with their children these days is different, and they're telling old school parents like me what we're doing wrong or what we said wrong. And I think she's right about some things. So I want to start with this. When you rush children, they get anxious. How many times did I rush you out of the house and were we screaming
My
to get you
entire
to
life. to yesterday, last night. I was like, the Uber's here, I need to go. And you're like, take the trash out. And I was like, where does the trash go? And you're like, I don't know, just take it with you. I'm like, I'm not gonna take the trash to just out to my Uber. What are you talking about? But you do this now. This has never been fixed and never will be fixed.
So, but what I'm saying to you is I am open to learning. How do I fix that? Not ask you to do 75 things and multitask, and not ask you to function the way my brain functions. Is that what you're saying to me right now?
Are you doing a radio zoo? Is that what you're
Is that what you're saying? That was me
right
being
now?
sarcastic.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you're doing a bit right. Yeah. Yeah. You
Is there
answered the
any way
question.
you could sit up? I can't keep looking back here.
Sorry. Well, I'm sorry. No.
Or I'll sit back, but then I can't reach
Yeah,
my
just
microphone.
also sit back and bring the microphone to you.
See, this is why parents are anxious, is because their kids are constantly pointing out what
I'm
we did
taking
wrong.
care. I'm taking care of myself. Yeah, just there you go.
Hi, I'm just gonna do it like that.
I mean, you can also
Okay,
unscrew it
but-
off of this.
But so the interesting thing is, I do think we evolve as people, and we learn that things that we did in the past were not necessarily correct. Like, I remember we used to ride around in a station wagon, and my mom would be driving. This is a true story. My mom would be driving the station wagon, would be in the back without seatbelts or car seats. I never had a car seat in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And she would be breastfeeding her baby driving the street with the other two kids in the back seat. So parenting does evolve, and we get safer and we learn better behavior.
I do.
Does
Part
the
of me,
language have to change?
I do. Well, yes, the language has to change. That's just yes. But part of me does respect the mom that does that, because that is pretty badass. I think, like when Oprah was like, the hardest job in the world is being a mom. That was like back in the 90s. Now, I don't know.
I would make the argument it's harder to be a mom now because, one, you're getting policed by all the other moms out there. So we didn't grow up with this. The stuff I did to you
Yeah.
as a child, like letting you watch inappropriate movies, or like, all the things I may have done wrong. Nobody knew about that until, we're telling the world about it on a podcast.
I don't know if that makes it better.
But
Nobody knew, so I could just do whatever.
no, I'm saying like I
I
didn't.
leave you in the house for hours.
Unattended. No, I didn't know I was doing things wrong because I didn't have social media to compare myself with all the other mothers out there. I would learn things occasionally,
Yeah,
like
but
you'd
that's
go to a
like-
bridal shower, you'd go play bunco, and you'd be around other moms, and they'd be like, oh, well, this is how we do it. And you'd be like, oh, okay. But now, parenting on social media, like, you post anything on social media, and then there's all these comments on how you shouldn't have done it that way and why you should have done it this way.
Yeah.
And how you should speak appropriately. I think it's harder to be a parent right now.
I don't think it's harder to be a parent now. Because then it was a lot easier for your kid to die. As opposed to
Right, we didn't
now.
have any safety help. We
Like-
had no safety restrictions.
Like the mental, it's almost, I saw something that was interesting that like your brain is made for problem solving, and so as you get rid of problems, you still need to problem solve. And so when things get easier, you kind of,
learn the
you have to
resilience.
make, not necessarily make up new problems, but like things seem more intense. Like if a mom says you're being a bad mom, we have people in our lives that were like, yeah, call them a bad mom. I know they're not a bad mom. There's just losers on the internet that like have something
Right.
to say about everything. So I don't know if I would say it's harder now. I think it was harder then because your kid could be kidnapped or murdered or
Well, that
disappear, and like that's,
Yeah.
but it was way like you read like all these kind of crazy stories about like the 70s and the 80s where like kids would fall off their bike and break their arm, and now their arm never grows back or like grows right. Like there's all kinds of things.
No, that
crazy
happened.
things.
That happened to my sister, Aunt Robin.
Yeah.
She was skateboarding outside, and she fell off the skateboard and broke her arm. And she laid there on the sidewalk for like 40 minutes until someone came by.
Yeah, that's
That
hard.
would never happen these days because she could have texted
But
or
then also
tweeted
it
or-
wouldn't happen because she would be inside playing a game where somebody else.
Right, she wouldn't have been
So it's a
skateboarding.
double-edged sword.
Oh, that's an interesting.
I don't get how I became the old fogey.
The roles are
I'm
reversed.
like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Those
The
kids.
times, they'll tell you the times have changed. Back when America was America.
You were still of the generation that played outside. So
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we'd get up, would have breakfast. We had to do chores. Like we got up at 6 a.m. and had to do chores almost every day of my life, which I think made me have a good work ethic, but I also think really traumatized me because now I can't relax ever. But that's for another
That
day.
might just be anxiety.
That's it for another day.
In general, yeah.
But then we would go, my mom would be like, okay, be home for dinner at 5. She never knew where we were. We would be out in the neighborhood. We lived by some mountains. We would be up in the mountains, climbing in creeks, climbing trees. Like we were unsupervised 7 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, just come back when the sun goes down.
Just come back when the sun goes down. And it was a happy, idyllic, wonderful childhood, I would say.
Yeah.
Your generation, 30 years later, I did not allow you to have any video games in our home until you were 12. I think I bought you a Wii when you were 12. That was a
Wii
rule that I
Sports.
was very strict about, and the first video game was
Wii Sports.
and you could play the tennis games and the running games where it was like in
Golf. It was Wii Sports, yeah.
yeah. So I think that is something I did really well as a mother.
I don't know. These kids are making millions of dollars on Twitch now, and
So
that,
maybe
and
I
they're all
didn't-
my age. So
Oh.
and like younger. They're younger. So I could have been, especially with how psychotically obsessive I am. I could have been just a Twitch streamer and just raking in cash.
Oh, so I've ruined your life?
No, but that's
Again?
it's one of those things. It's. I mean, maybe I'm just in a nihilistic mood, but you never know what the right and wrong. There's no right or wrong thing when it comes to like raising a kid. It's just like don't let it die, and like it's easier to not let your kid die right now.
Okay, I do think that's a good point. We've had a rough week.
Yeah.
Can I share with the people?
Yeah.
So this is definitely a first world problem, but I have been evacuated again this week. So we have 2 homes, and when I say that, I don't mean it to sound bougie or like I've worked really,
You worked
really
hard. You have 2 homes.
I worked really, really hard to
You
buy
deserve
this
2 homes.
old little beach cottage that I've been fixing up in St. Petersburg. And it's going to be my grandma's house. It's going to be the house for your children if and when you decide to have them. No judgment, but if you don't have them, I'll die. But you do what you do. You do what your life is going to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got this cute little beach house. I've been fixing it up. It is nothing fancy, but got hit really hard by Helene. Our entire neighborhood is decimated. Luckily, our house is elevated, so the inside of our home wasn't damaged. Our yard was decimated. So I went down there Sunday, check on the house, check on the damage. Phone beeps, evacuation orders again. So Milton, by the time you hear this podcast, we may not have a home anymore.
Yeah, Milton is supposed to be like the highest possible barometric pressure that a hurricane can have.
Oh, well, great. I didn't know that. Thanks.
Yeah. It's up there.
You are nihilistic today.
Well,
And our home's probably being annihilated, so I get it. Anyway, I'm just frustrated because I don't know where to live where I'm not going to get evacuated. So our house in Utah, we got evacuated because of a fire in July, and now our house in Florida, we've been evacuated because of a hurricane. So I really
You're mad at me for being nihilistic.
I don't know where to live, honey, without being
You're
evacuated.
coming to New York. New York is crazy.
Well,
It's it's one of those days.
It's one of those days.
You know,
It's
those
been a
days where
lot.
it's just kind of like a.
So anyway,
Yeah.
our hearts, like, lots of prayer to everyone who is not as fortunate as we have. I have another place I could come. We have other places to be.
Thoughts and
But-
prayers to everybody who doesn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, it's awful, and there's a lot of elderly people in my neighborhood that's like it's not
Their
easy
home
for
is
them
just
to
gone now.
evacuate. Yeah, exactly, retirees. So anyway, that's been tough this week. But let's talk about happier things. Is that okay?
I'm gonna make fun of somebody. I have a friend who he took his whole family to Disneyland, and they were like, "Are you gonna leave?" He's like, "Nah." And they're just still at Disneyland. It's people like that.
Oh no, they've
That
closed
make me-
Disneyland now.
I know, but he was so nonchalant. He was like, we were like, "There's a hurricane coming."
And he was not gonna.
He
leave.
lives here with his family, and we were like, "Come back." And he's like, "No.
We're here.
It's gonna be fun. I paid. It's gonna be fun."
And you know, it's interesting you say
Leave.
that because there's so many people, I think, particularly in Florida, because we've been evacuated before and then nothing happens, the storm doesn't hit. And so people get this false sense of security of like, well, it's not going to happen to us and it's
Yeah.
not going to happen here.
Anything can happen to you.
Yeah, so I did heed the evacuation
It's
orders.
better to be ready.
Yeah.
And nothing happen than be not ready and something happen. Conor McGregor said that on a podcast I listened to recently.
Oh, wow.
I've been listening to a lot of Dax Shepard.
I've heard that's
I
a
like
great
that
podcast.
I like that.
I
Because
just
you
listened.
cheated on. Can we talk about this? When you say you're going to save something for someone, I do this with movies sometimes, but I think it's different with movies because I will happily watch a movie again if it's good, and if it's not good, I took the bullet, so you didn't have to.
Right, so we
But-
do send each other these text messages, and I start a little list. So when you're going to come home, like for Christmas for a week, or if we're going to spend a lot of time
that we can
together,
watch because it's just the two of us. So like
we have stuff
you
we
can
can
only
watch together.
chat for so long. Like eventually you're like, let's just watch something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not that we wouldn't chat for a long time. 'Cause
we do chat for a long time, but I mean you don't want to.
Eventually, we're gonna watch
A
something.
whole 24 hours of chatting is ridiculous. For anybody.
I know.
It's-
I'm kidding. I was being funny. So anyway, we also started doing that with podcasts. So when we're driving in the car together, we have this one podcast that we listen to, Smartlist. Shout out to the boys on Smartlist. They are so cute. It's so delightful.
Love Smartlist.
Sean Hayes, Jason Bateman, and Will Arnett. It's delightful. And
Yeah.
we listen to that together
love
when
it.
we're in the car. Well, I was driving for about 9 hours recently, and I said to you, I have to cheat on you. I'm gonna have to cheat on you. And so
The one thing.
I'm sorry, honey, but they kept me awake and they
Perfect
kept me
for
from
drive.
crashing and dying, and they made me happy. I was by
Another
myself in
thing
the
that would
car,
keep-
laughing out loud.
This is okay. If you have a bad experience with something and so you don't do it anymore because you think you have more control over your own facilities and so you decide to do it,
faculties, not facilities.
faculties and facilities,
No,
that's the same.
my faculties are like
Your facilities.
no. Facilities are like a object.
No,
Your faculties
you have
are your senses. I'm 100% sure you're wrong.
You don't. You know what? Whatever. You're in the wrong stuff.
All right, have 100% control over your facilities.
Have you have 100% of your faculties?
Please,
I forgot.
Please
you
let us
just
know who's
completely
right.
derailed. You derailed my whole story. This is what parents do. They have to correct you. They got to be right. I don't know if this is what parents do. I feel
Your
attacked.
parent does. Your parent.
Yes.
No, I like language.
You are very competitive, even when it comes to language.
Well, I want you to be right.
You used the word verklempt yesterday.
Verklempt.
Verklempt. You're saying it like an old Jewish man. Verklempt.
I think
Verklempt.
it's spelled that way, but it's not pronounced that way.
Verklempt.
Just like chutzpah.
Chutzpah is
It's
a
spelled
Hasidic, not a Hasidic word. It's
Hasidic.
It's not. Well, no, that's a type.
It's a
Yiddish.
Yiddish.
It's Yiddish.
But it is spelled
Or
chutzpah.
Yeah, but that's because it's pronounced differently.
And that's what I'm
You're
trying to tell you
pronouncing
about
a word
verklempt.
like it's like you're doing an accent as opposed to pronouncing it correctly.
Well, it's not pronounced verklempt.
How do you pronounce? I'm asking.
Verklempt.
Let's ask Siri. How do you pronounce verklempt?
Verklempt, pronounced verklempt, means overcome with emotion, perhaps even choked or clenched by emotions.
So that means you've learned this word from hearing somebody use it,
Verklempt.
found out,
I'm a little verklempt.
and that you're using the accent that you learned the word in,
Well, I think I learned it from Saturday Night Live. Coffee talk.
then
Coffee talk.
so
with
you're
Mike
arguing with
Myers.
how a word is pronounced. Coffee talk.
Well, I learned it
You
on
learned it with
Coffee
an
Talk.
accent. Do you know what it means?
Verklempt. Yeah, you get all choked up. I'm all choked up with emotion.
But what does it mean?
That's what I just told you.
It's choked up with emotion.
Yes. I got a little verklempt. It means I got a little like choked up, like, oh, that got to me. I'm a little choked up.
I don't think it just means choked up. It's overcome with emotion. But yeah, you got it. Yeah, you're right. You did it. You got it right.
I don't even know where we're headed right now. All right.
Well, I was in the middle of a story, and then you just completely derailed me
With
over
faculties.
facilities versus faculties.
Okay, but let me get back to where we started.
Where did we start?
We started with this language about does
Yes.
our language have to change as parents?
Actually, this makes sense that we got so on each other about language. When
Because we
been
were trying to
talking
talk about language.
That was on purpose, because we
It wasn't, but that was
care.
funny that it did come.
Just rock with me. Because we want to teach the people that listen a lesson about language. And that was our idea for today.
I don't think we're teaching anyone anything. I think what we're doing is saying we don't know anything, but here's what we think.
We don't know stuff. We just think, we're just
We know
yelling.
a lot of stuff.
We know some stuff, but we're just yelling our opinion into the internet. And take it. Take our opinion. Run with it. Use it. Tell it to friends.
No, I think we're sharing experiences more.
That's
so
right.
I guess what I was saying is I liked that video because I thought it was really funny, one, but I do think it was serious in that you have to say things differently now with children. You don't say don't hit your sister, you say gentle, gentle. There's a way that you speak to kids now, and I think I'm gonna have to learn it. It's like learning a
I
new
think
language.
with certain stuff, you just say don't do that. Like if you're hitting someone, you say stop that because it's bad. You fix the behavior then.
But I think what millennial parents are trying to do is they're trying to correct your behavior without making you feel bad. Like I think a lot of this is so that you don't make your kids feel bad.
If you're hitting somebody, you should feel bad about that and be reprimanded. It's okay to feel bad about. It's also okay to feel bad. You should feel bad every now and again because then you know what it feels like to feel bad, and then you will be better at not having that. Because feelings speak a lot more than words. So maybe don't shame your children for certain things.
Right.
The words are not technically what they're going to remember. It's how you made them feel. So maybe you're just a bad parent if all you're doing is switching out words. That's like switching your phone case. How do you make them feel if you're always on your parent or always on your kid being like, don't you do that, don't you do that, don't you do that, don't you do that, then you never know what to do.
Right.
But
You're creating anxiety.
You're being me. You gotta teach your kids through feelings. Sometimes they should feel bad. You don't shit on the floor, whatever. Poop on the floor. He'll bleep it. You don't poop on the floor. That's bad, right? You just made me feel bad for swearing. Great. I will swear less on the podcast. Perfect. That makes sense. You didn't say a single word. But that's the point. Like that, I'm like, ooh, don't do that. That's bad. I register that feeling. Don't do that again. That's more important than being like, gentle.
Gentle. We're gentle.
Be gentle all the time.
You know,
Being gentle is
one
not-
bad moment or good moment, I can't decide. You'll have to tell me. See if you're traumatized. If you still have PTSD from this, is I remember I would always tell you don't touch the oven. We had an oven that was low, and so if something was in the oven, the door was hot, and you would go and like stand up against the door, and I kept saying don't touch the oven. It's hot. It's hot. Don't touch the oven. It's hot. And you would not listen to me. And so one time I just let you touch the oven, and it was hot, and you burned yourself.
Yeah,
And then guess what? You didn't touch the oven
anymore.
Exactly.
Is that the best example? Yeah. No. A little. It's not. I didn't touch the oven anymore. I
Do you
learned
remember
my
this?
lesson.
Do you feel
No, never
traumatized by
any
it?
of this. No.
Oh, okay. So I didn't traumatize you then.
No.
But in that moment, you did learn because you didn't touch the oven anymore.
But I think what I did learn is that I don't listen to you. I learned for myself. I'm like, she can tell me, but until I experience it.
Yeah, I would think.
Which
that's
I
true.
would think that because when you say that story, I'm like, that does ring true for hundreds of other situations. where
Right.
you're
So I
like-
could be like, and then
like,
you're like,
I remember having
I'm
a
gonna
girlfriend in
freaking
high
stop.
school, and you were just like, I don't like her. Then I was like, I like her. And then after like 2 months, I was like, you were correct.
I don't like her there.
She sucked.
I've really only ever not liked two of your girlfriends.
Let's not get into it. But
What?
We'll see.
I think you have good judgment with me.
I do have good
I
judgment.
think you've had good judgment. All right, that's another topic. All right, do you want to get to chaos theory? I feel like we've
Yes.
been going too long. Let's get to our chaos theories today.
How long have we got?
Okay. Here, let me pick your. Oh, let's do that. Oh, look at us when we're together. So this is what we used to do when he was a kid. We'd be like, "What do you want to do today?" And would each put 2 things in a hat, and then would pull it out.
We learned it from a Ryan
Oh my
Reynolds
God.
movie that I don't know if is.
That's so crazy
Yeah.
because we were just talking about it. Mom judging.
Where did it go?
Where'd it go?
Right there.
So that's yours. What were you thinking right now?
So when we were setting up, she was giving me crap about wearing chanclas around the house. Chanclas
Is that what we call this?
It's like sliders, or your slides.
What's it
your
called?
sandals. Like
Chanclas?
sandals, chanclas.
Chunkless?
That's like the Spanish.
Oh.
Or something for it, but
Okay, I just
you wear
said
these
that.
around the house because you don't want your feet to get dirty or your socks to get dirty. And you were giving me shit about it.
Well, because
Poop. You were giving me poop about it.
we've made fun of people that we see in the airport wearing this ensemble, which is slides or
I'm
slippers.
in
with
the
socks.
comfort of my home. I can wear slippers in my house.
And I think all I said to you is, you don't wear those outside, do you?
Which is it's insane. This is what, it was triggering because I've had an issue with this earlier.
Oh,
we
what-
have talked extensively about how much I hate wearing sandals outside of the house.
Right.
But you wearing those, but that's kids. Kids know what I'm talking about. Parents will just do this. They'll just
They'll judge you.
judge you.
So you know what's really funny is when you held up that thing and you said mom judging, I thought the topic meant we're judging other mothers for how they're parenting.
No,
and
I'm talking
you-
about moms judging their children.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm judging you now.
so
Okay,
really you're talking about me, right? You're talking about me right now?
We're talking about you right there.
So what did you want to bring up? That,
No,
that
that was
moms
it.
should not be judgmental.
No, I just think that that's a relatable thing that I do feel like a lot of people, their mom will be like, oh, you've been snacking a lot lately, stuff like that. I do see that from all mothers. It's a little henpeck here or there.
We're henpecky. I think I've said this before. I did grow up with very critical parents, and so it is really hard for me not to be critical. I do think I'm improving. Have you noticed? I
I'm-
haven't talked to you once about your anything in a long
About
time.
my what?
See how I got myself there?
About my what?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Uh,
About what?
life.
About my life? All right, pick another one.
Another one.
Let's
Okay.
wrap this.
So moms do judge, and I'm sorry.
Did you take that one out?
No, I put it aside.
Okay.
Oh, okay, this is an interesting one. Parents' friends versus your friends. So we had a situation where we went out to dinner recently with some people. We had a dinner with some friends. And I really loved it because I'm friends with some people, but separately on your own, you have become friends with those same people.
Yes.
And I love it that we can be friends and have friends that's a different relationship for both of us.
Yeah.
But,
I
sorry.
was talking about this with Doc in the car. It's definitely a tightrope walk, especially with these specific friends, because there's other factors, but it is weird. It's weird to share friends.
Do you think so?
I don't know how many other people share friends with their parents. Especially, I don't know how many other people, because my friends the friends in question are my age,
Right, but they're also my friends too.
but they're also your friends too.
And you met them through me and my
But then it
friendship.
is weird because we have our own separate friend relationship. So like, you'll get mad at me. You'll be like, "Hey, don't do that here," and I'm like, we are friends.
We have a separate relationship.
Like
than
I
you do.
can when I come over here, I go in the fridge. But then you'll be like, "Ask before you go in the fridge." I'm like, I spend time here.
I go in the fridge. Yeah, I just think it's an interesting concept because when I was younger, my parents were very social. We had people over to our house all the time for dinner. Back in those days, you didn't have the internet. We were not really allowed to watch TV, and so we socialized with our neighbors. We had people over for dinner 2 or 3
But
times
we
a
weren't
week.
really friends with you.
But that's what I'm getting to is my parents' friends seemed so much older than me and so different than me.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have occurred to me. But then later in life, and to this day, I'm still friendly with some of my parents' friends, and they Instagram or hit me up on social media, and we chat, and I have developed some friendships with my parents' friends.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting.
It's weird. Also, but I mean, back in your day, if your parents were friends with your friends, it's creepy.
Depending on the situation.
But those are like 45-year-old people. You
Yeah,
guys are
we
like
don't
10.
age shame anybody.
Not age. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Not
don't
age
age shame
shaming.
anybody.
Well, no, it's not age shaming, but I mean, age does play a good.
I just thought that was an interesting.
It
little
is
topic.
interesting though. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's funky.
Because you
'Cause
do
we just said we have a separate
friendships that are
relationship.
different, right?
Yes.
But this has happened with us on several occasions. Like,
Once or twice.
yeah, like
I would say twice.
Yeah, we had friend. I had a friend. You met the friend, then you formed your own separate relationship with the
my
friend.
yeah.
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 I think it's a good quality because it means we both
It
have
is interesting
excellent
though
taste in
because
people.
like we were saying with the mom judging or the like mom's kind of like, you know,
Mom judging.
seeing how your behavior is. You behave differently with your friends because you're more comfortable with them, but then when it's a friend of your mom's as well, you will have opinions about how I behave with my friends, which is,
I see what
you
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
Is it then
like
the mom
you're like,
judging
you have to
comes in.
uphold, that's not how we do manners, and it's like, well, we're friends, we don't do manners. Like
Yeah.
we're playful with each other and like
Right.
talk crap with each other. So like I'll tease them and then you're like, don't talk to them that way. And I'm like, but we're friends. This is how
This
we
is our
talk.
relationship, right? So I guess in the whole roundabout scheme of things, the whole podcast today, and it's so interesting to me how some of this just happens organically, you know, because we started out with the little video about language and how you talk to your kids, but that all circles back to mom judging and how you communicate with your kids. So I think the moral of the story is,
Kids could probably be better about communicating with their parents, what their boundaries are, or how they feel about things.
and how like if I said something, how it made you feel, or
Yeah.
I do think kids should and could give more feedback, but I understand why that'd be hard. Like, Mom, when you say this, it makes me feel this.
Yeah.
That's a skill, but
Yeah.
it's hard because you don't want to confront each other. So,
Exactly.
okay, I think we have to wrap up the podcast because I can sense
Yeah,
we're
I
here in
want
his
my
apartment.
roommates to be able to live their lives
And the
without
roommates
us.
wanna
Thank
come
you
out.
guys for being so
Thank
patient.
Thank you.
Are you done?
We're finishing-
not,
we're
but we
finishing now.
appreciate you coming and thank you. Not that we appreciate you coming. Thanks for letting us record the podcast in your apartment.
Shout out to Andrea and Misery and Casey.
All right.
All right.
Well, I love you,
Thank you,
honey.
Mom. Love you too.
I'm gonna start working on not judging you so much. I promise.
Well, apparently you're quietly judging me without telling me this.
But I'm keeping it
And
inside of my head.
judging my life.
Keeping it inside of my head instead of.
Oh, that's better.
Hey, baby steps.
That's so much better.
Baby steps.
I love you.
I love you more. Bye.